Hello everyone, welcome back to Pi Season 3. In this episode, well, I don't know what we're doing. We just added nickel plates, which feels pretty good. And so now I don't have to worry about nickel as much, which means nichrome is now a little bit cheaper. There is still a little bit of an issue with like chromium is not that cheap yet, and it won't be a lot cheaper until chem science. So nichrome is still expensive because we're limited on chromium. It would be easy to expand nickel. I can easily double this. In fact, I could probably double it inside this footprint. Whereas chromium is using the entire footprint already. Part of it is needing all the limestone that we need, and then the other part is just needing all these casting units. Between those two things, that's taking probably more than half the space. So yeah, chromium's pretty limited right now. So anyway, nichrome, I still need to view that as kind of pricey. Like, 1 nichrome a second is probably my limit. Anyway, in this episode, I'm gonna start with some more power. Why don't I just copy this? And is that within the range? I don't think it is. Let's see. Oh no, didn't mean to do that. Wait, oh, I was just hitting the wrong hotkey. Yeah, it's a little too far, unfortunately. That's surprising, it feels like it would reach. But it's just like a couple tiles too short. I mean, I can't tell for certain. Let me try. No, it's definitely too short. It's right there. Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 tiles too short. Ah, that's a bummer. Well, in that case, we'll just have to add a connecting. I'll add a little gap here, just to make it feel slightly more realistic again then. And then what we'll do is we'll connect this one, the top of this one, and then we'll need a RoboPort here. Okay. Gotta keep building out more power as we go. And then the first thing we were gonna do in this episode is add a few more trains. It looks like this is mostly liquid, but we can do a few solids here. Is there a reason I have them spaced out more? Like, why would I not just put this here? I don't really know. Like, why am I going 2 spaces? I don't really know. Okay. Wait, I did that wrong. No, I didn't. Click, and then do this. Click. And that's solids depot, and then we just need, well, we gotta wait till the rails are built. And we'll put that there. I think 2 more trains is fine. I'm only seeing the pop-ups once in a while, so 2 more trains will allow for, yeah, I feel like I'm seeing them just often enough that it's starting to feel like a couple more could be a good idea. All right, so what's this? This could use more unload. I think it's stone for moss. Got it. And what's this? That's ash. Okay, that can't go any faster. Ash takes forever, but it probably doesn't need to deliver all that often because a stack lasts for a while. And then, yeah, whatever. I'm not worried about anything else right now. And let's see. Today is going to be a short episode, by the way. I know I say that all the time, but I mean it. And I mean like 35 minutes. That is a bit on the short side, but I'm gonna try to hold myself to it. I say that every time. Is Krydax actually gonna carry through? Oh, I need to add some new names to this Inn Garden. I've got 1 or 2 more to add. We also need new radar coverage over here. I do want to say again, thank you to all my patrons. In this season of life, with everything I'm going through, the Patreon support is really helping, so thank you. Okay, house glass. I don't know how glass is. Seems okay-ish. Let's look at molten glass over the last hour. Okay, good. Yeah, we are okay on glass. That's what this means. Because we've had multiple points where we weren't even making any. Could be useful, I just realized. I think what I'd like to do is a small molten glass buffer. Is 10,000 a lot? Let's see. Like if these are both running full time, 10,000 would only be a minute's worth of production. So no, 10,000 is not a lot. I'll do a full 75,000. Yeah. And I'll just plop it right here. I feel like that's kind of a dangerous place to put it. I'll actually put it up here. Okay. I think a molten glass buffer will be nice because then all these buildings can run at the same time once in a while. So I think having a buffer is actually a good idea here. Given that the other option would be to make this buffer bigger, you know, add 4 more chests here and make all the limits larger. That would be effectively the same solution. In fact, that actually might be a better solution than what I have going on here, because then it would actually allow for these rates to not matter as much, but whatever. Okay, so nylon was the thing we were looking at doing. That's right, that's right. Did I decide where we were doing nylon? Yes, I did. It was right here. Yeah, nylon. Nylon! Alright, so we're requesting nichrome. When do we get nichrome alloy? Also, curious, is nichrome alloy even better? So... nichrome alloy is 10 and 8. And 10 molten nickel makes 6.3. So we're talking 6.3 nickel. And... well, that's 3.2 times 0.8. 2.6 chromium. So 6 and 2.5, basically. Versus 10 and 8. Oh my gosh, that is a huge difference. It cuts the nickel cost in about half. I mean, it's 60%, but 63% to be exact. But that's a huge discount on the nickel part. And then it cuts the chromium cost in about a third. So then nichrome doesn't cost us that much chromium at all. That's a huge boost. Not till chem science. And we also need the molten chromium research, but still. That is a huge boost. Now, it's an interesting dynamic though, because like chromium also, well, no, what am I saying? It'll be 3.2 of the new chromium, which is going to be even cheaper than 3.2 of the old chromium. So it's almost an exponential gain at that point. Anyway, I digress. For now, we only have this nichrome recipe. And how many thingies do we have going for it? I do have 3. And we are loading it onto this one? No, this one? This one. All right, we're gonna beef this up to, we're gonna go 1200. So we're about to be using a bit more of it. Yeah, this is a super simple situation. Just mixers. I goofed. I don't know what I was doing, but I don't need nitrogen here. I forgot that, like, we should make nichrome somewhere else. I don't know why that didn't enter my brain. Probably gonna get some comments about it. Okay, so we need 5 of these. Give some space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is this? Nextlet? Cool. So what we're gonna need to request then is chlorine and ammonia. Chlorine, that is correct. Ammonia, that is correct. Negative 75,000. 25 grand. Threshold doesn't matter for that. And then we gotta get this guy. You're gonna be chlorine. Clear that. Hook you up. You're gonna be ammonia. Hook that up. Okay. So that's good to go. And then we need an input of just nichrome. Definitely didn't need two of these. Nichrome. Just 1 per second, so probably 12 stacks. Yeah, should work. And then we need the threshold to be 10. Filters left. Oh, what am I doing? No, that's fine. I'll just scooch the, or rotate the buildings. And then we do this. Oh, benzene. Why did I forget about benzene? The heck happened to my brain? I don't know what's going on here. All right, benzene will be up there. Need power anyway. And bring this wire down. All right, so there's benzene. What's that? Benzene cyanoacrylic acid. Cool. Cool. All right, there's benzene. And then, yeah, so from here, we need chlorine. Chlorine, ammonia, benzene. So chlorine is this one. Ammonia is this one. Benzene is this one. And then we go in, out, nylon. Pretty simple stuff. Copy that. All right. Oh, we need the pipes. Clicky, clicky. Let's go ahead and cut off this side just in case. You know what? I feel like this is going to bite me in the butt. I'm probably going to extend this at some point and then forget to do one of those. That's how this always goes. I don't know at this point why I'm even doing it. It's probably just Sabotage. Self-sabotage. Alright, that should cover all the construction needs. And then the nylon comes over to here. How much nylon do we want? Probably not 7,200. And it does stack to 100, I assume. Yeah. So let's do 3,000. Sure. Okay. Oh, and then benzene needs to be requested. Sweet. That should do it. So that's just a matter of time. Now let's add the trains. Whoa, it's crazy how they change colors. All right, train. Where's a wagon? Give me a wagon. Some kind of wagon. There we go. Wagon. Power pole. And then we're gonna need fuel, but we can manually load that. I think I'll grab fiber, actually. Can I load it into the Ghost? No, I cannot. We have to wait until it's built. All right. Oh, look, those are getting done. Perfect. Power grid. Oh, God. Power grid's actually looking scary. 1.8 gigawatts is too much. Alright, wow, I didn't know it was this bad. Looks like things are actually kind of a problem. So we're going to extend this. Oh wait, I did need that. Okay. I'm just gonna add 12 more now. That's gonna be very expensive for my base, but that's another, what, 72 megawatts on top of what we just did here. It's 100 megawatts when my base finally finishes it. How much is each tidal plant again? They're so expensive. I mean, look at these bots. Most of these are probably for tidal plants. Oh gosh, they're so expensive. But it's fine. What else does my base have to do? It's not like it's busy with science or anything. All right, so the trains are probably built. Yep, there we go. And now let's do fiber. Ghost cursor selection. Maybe I'll just do logs. Okay. I'll wait for that to get done. So many steps to this. You gotta build the rails, then you gotta wait, then you gotta build the trains, then you gotta wait, then you gotta add the fuel, then you gotta wait, then you gotta turn them on to automatic. Because if you turn them on to automatic, as soon as they get one fuel, they'll drive off somewhere and then run out of fuel because they didn't get the full 100. They won't wait until they have the full 100. So it's a 4-step process with waiting in between all of them. That is not optimal. It would be a lot faster if I did it manually, actually. All right, let's take a look at flora. All right, well, it's still clumped, so I think we have our answer, which is that the clumping is unfortunately exacerbated, not fixed, due to not reading the mixer. I'm guessing there's a tipping point somewhere. Like if the mixer was smaller, it might not clump. There's probably a length of mixer, and it's probably also somewhat affected by how close the mixer is to the dumper. I think it's affected by that. Maybe it's not. I'm not totally certain. Either way, yeah, there's some interesting math here, but whatever we have, someone in the, I forget who it was, I think it was Cobladix, used the phrase resonance cascade, you know, as a Half-Life. I think we've got a cascade here where, like, whatever the situation is, it actually makes itself worse over time. So if we started with a fully mixed belt, it would actually end up being clumped. Because if it would trend towards actually being mixed, it would have been mixed by now. I mean, look at this. The fact that we go this long of a stretch without one flora, I think, well, there's one right there. But that, I think, proves the point. Because there would at least be a few flora on this section if it was actually mixing properly. So again, the reason this is happening, and I will admit, I was wrong. I thought this would fully mix itself over time. I think I understand why it's not now, after we've analyzed it like a dozen times in the last 2 weeks, but it certainly was, it didn't go with what my gut thought was true, which is a good reminder. Like, our guts aren't always correct, even as someone who knows a lot about math and a lot about even this type of math, you know, that you kind of do in these situations, like, and not just the math, but like playing with the math in Factorio. You know, like, I've done this for a lot of hours, and it's a good reminder that our gut is not always correct. And anyway, as for the reason, just a reminder on why I think this is happening is because it's a mixture of two things. I think part of it is that 90% of the consumption is happening right here. No, sorry, 100%. Right, flora is only consumed on one half of the belt. So to have an even amount spread over the belt, remember we're gonna have something like this. So the bars are actually gonna look like this. And then it's gonna be flat. That's my attempt at being flat. It's gonna look like this, when the average needs to be that, right? And so, like, we're gonna have these really big peaks at the front, and then it goes down below the average towards the end, and that's the same for the rest of the belt because there's no more consumption of flora. So the flora should look like this on an evenly mixed belt, when the average flora per second across the whole belt should be about that. And so what's happening is the consumption is all in a short time, which means even if it was evenly mixed, all the dumping would be in a relatively short time in one wave. And so I do think it's possible that it would be properly mixed if the belt was consuming flora evenly all the way to the end here. Like, let's say this was just one type of building and one big sushi loop. And maybe it was just all repro complexes around the whole loop. I actually think it might be mixed properly. But the problem is, because all of the adding happens, you know, all of the consuming happens on only half the belt, and this not measuring the mixer plus long mixer is prone to overloading when a large clump comes through. The large clump comes through, it overloads, makes the clump even bigger, and now that clump, as it's getting consumed, we're not even loading more on yet until we get to the tail end of the clump. And when it gets to the tail end of the clump, now these are consuming everything at the tail end of the clump, making it empty. And then this is actually adding enough to just keep up with the buildings. And it adds just enough to keep up with the buildings, and then all of that is getting consumed. Like right now, it is adding some, but all of this flora here is getting consumed. It's just enough to keep up. Probably even stopping once in a while. But you can see that these buildings are still running, so it is enough to keep up. If I look at cocoon generation, it has been 162 a minute, which is what, 3.5 a second? 2.5 a second. So like we're in the ballpark of these running constantly. So it's not like this is broken. This is adding enough to keep up. It's just not mixing properly. So there's something there. Anyway, the way that I'm gonna fix this, I'm not gonna measure the mixer because that feels like, even though that will be what I do in the future, I'm a stubborn mule here, and I like to create different kinds of solutions. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna shorten the mixer again, and I think that will help a lot. I'm gonna do it in person because I feel like I'm gonna screw something up if I try to do it with bots. But I'm gonna make the mixer way shorter, and I think that will help. It's also a good test because I think it will help. I'm not 1,000,000% sure it'll fix it. So it'll be a good test to see if it fixes it. But I think a much shorter mixer will do the trick. Again, I feel like there's a tipping point. Anybody that knows about like local minima and local maxima, you know, like chaotic systems or non-chaotic systems, like systems that, you know, if you imagine a 2D, I wish I could open like a drawing tool in Factorio, but if you imagine like there's kind of a hump, and if it's just on this side of the hump, it'll trend towards being fully mixed. But if you go slightly too far on this side, it'll actually trend towards being not mixed. And there's some sort of tipping point somewhere, I think, with this kind of system. And I don't know exactly where that tipping point is. I don't even know for sure if making the mixer shorter guarantees we cross that tipping point. I think it does. I think this guarantees a fix, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But I think having a much shorter mixer like this, I mean, we just cut the length of the mixer in half or more. I think that will fix it, and I am gonna just make sure my inventory is cleared out here. All that stuff. So we can check back in like another hour or whatever, but this will vastly reduce the amount of overloading that we do. It will still do a little bit of it, right? But because less total flora can fit on the mixer, it prevents how much overloading can happen. Because the length of the mixer is directly related to how much we can overshoot the 480 by. And if we can overshoot the 480 by less, I think it does a better job at mixing it. Again, I'm not 1,000,000% sure of all this. Feel free to leave more comments. This is like the ongoing investigation. If I just read the mixer, yes, it would all work smoothly. I would need to change the numbers though. That's important to note. If we read the mixer, you have to add the length of the mixer into your calculation. But that would fix it. It would then mix properly and everything would be fine. But I want to see if reducing the length of the mixer fixes it first. And it's not just stubbornness. Like, I'm not trying to prove anything here. I freely admit I was wrong. I screwed up. I was overconfident in my gut. I don't, maybe not over, no, I was overconfident. I'll admit that. I was overconfident in the way we were doing it. I don't think I was crazy for the things I said. Like, I think, you know, my line of thinking was reasonable. It was close to, I think, what's true. I think I was under, or sorry. I think what I originally said was reasonable to think. I was overconfident in the power of mixing over time, and I undervalued the power of how much it overshoots by. And I think the length of the mixer is proportional to that, and that's what we're testing now as well. But yeah, I was definitely wrong about it. I thought the mixer would have more power over time to just fix that problem, and it didn't. The overshooting continued to get worse. Like we said, resonance cascade. You know, anyone that knows about galloping Gertie knows what I'm talking about. Like, once you have a resonant system, it explodes itself without that much input. And I think that might be what was happening here due to the length of the mixer. So we'll see if having a shorter mixer fixes it. And again, I also don't know how much it's contributing that only half the belt is consuming all of the resources. I think that's a part of it too. Because if this half the belt was also consuming, then this would be plopping flora onto the belt for a much longer period of time, as the floor is getting consumed, it would be getting consumed evenly. But so it's almost like there might be two different factors that support the clumping. It could be that we're only consuming on half the belt and the long mixer. And I don't know how much each of those contributes towards the clumping. And it could be that both of them contribute towards clumping. And fixing either one of them would fix the clumping. I don't know. It's a very interesting dynamic. But yeah, we should end up with a smaller amount of overshooting here, which should cause more even additions to the belt and smaller gaps, which should result in more mixing over time. You know, it's already adding. We'll see. We'll see. There's still a big gap here with no flora, so we'll be pretty. You know what I just realized? Hold on. Sorry, I know I said 35-minute episode and 15 is back to the stupid Vrauks. For those who don't like this Vrauk, this side quest of figuring out the Vrauks, I apologize. For those who do like it, well, you're welcome, because I know some of you dig this and you love thinking about these things too. So what I just realized is it's also possible that we are maintaining the exact amount in such a way that it's never going to fix itself, but it's not getting worse either. And if I turned off Vrauks for a minute and let this mix for like half an hour, and then re-enabled it, it would actually stay mixed, but it's also going to stay spaced out because it's spaced out. Because theoretically, I'm adding exactly what I'm consuming. And if I'm consuming, like, let's say we're imbalanced and, here, let me find a place that's not bot enabled. Like, let's say relative density of flora looks something like this. You know, imagine the belt's too wide, and like this is the flora on one side versus this, and so most of the flora is over here on the left in the loop. Now, if we're consuming evenly in this loop, well, you imagine some of this gets knocked out, but it gets replaced at the same time it's getting consumed, and then this gets knocked out a little bit again, but the buildings are still running full time, and now you're left with this. So if we're adding at the same rate we're taking off, it's possible it just stays clumped because it was already clumped, and not because there's anything wrong with the system. I hadn't considered that possibility. It's possible the system's perfect, and it's actually just maintaining exactly what it's supposed to maintain. Wow. So now there's 3 options / variables. It's possible the system, even with the longer mixer, was fine, but it was just staying clumped because it was already clumped. Oh goodness. Well, now we have to test that one first, because I'm genuinely curious. Again, I apologize if you hate this. Well, sorry. But this is what we're doing. I'm gonna re-longify the mixer. And to stop Vrauk, what am I gonna do? I'm going to stop the, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna stop the Vrauks from getting taken off the belt, so then these will stop taking eggs, and then the eggs will stop getting taken off, and then these will stop running. So that'll take like half an hour or so. And then the belt will properly mix itself after, you know, 10 revolutions or however many it'll take. And then I'm gonna turn it all back on, and we're gonna see if it clumps. So we're gonna do that official test, because there is a world where it doesn't clump if it starts out mixed. And we haven't guaranteed one way or the other yet. So we will find out. All right, we're approaching the end of this episode. We will finish off maybe with getting these trains running. So I can now Add station, what's it called? Solids depot. Copy that. Automatic. Automatic. All right, so there's 2 more trains. And how are the Malaysia doing? I really hope those are close. Whoa. Oh, I see what's happening. Are we up to 4 yet? Oh, right, we're waiting for Malaysia seed. Okay. All right, well, it's gonna be going towards science probably for another train load because everything had to catch up. That's fine. Is this okay? I think this is okay. 9,000, what's one train load? 4,000? So it's 6,000. Yeah, I think this is fine. I mean, if 1 belt is coming in, 2 belts out is enough. It should be. That's far more than double the rate that's coming in. Anyway, Tufra we could replace with Mark II Tufra. Once we have it. Do we have it? Uh-oh. Something is very wrong here. Well. Yeah, I should have a bunch of my... Wait, I only have 5? Oh, it's in channel 1. Somewhere. It's in one of... Yeah, there it is. We've got 124. Okay, what I need to do is... Oh, perfect. Get that placed into channel 0, and then our bots can come grab those. Okay. I see that problem now. Alright, so add more trains is done, and perfect. We are just nicely set up for our Fawoji sulfuric acid plant, which I will add into here. Sulfuric, and that is going to be a new recipe. Where is that recipe? Is it still from acid gas? It might be. I don't remember. Yeah, that one. Okay, I think I want to do like 500 a second. Oh my god. That might be a bit extreme. 8 Fawoji a second. What are we talking with Fawoji right now? 2 a second? This might be a bit extreme. Let's go to like 250. That feels like a good maintenance level. So this is what we'll build in the next episode. And this is also a simple one. We'll also provide the acid gas, I think. Because doesn't acid gas go in a lot of things? Uh-oh, why does it not show up when I search acid? Oh, it's acid gas with no space. That's another annoying thing. Yeah, we'll also provide the acid gas. Because it's a source of both. Okay, well that's what we'll do in the next episode. Also double check the nylon before I go here. Is this ready to go? Oh, now that's really interesting. A fake recipe, well, not fake, but future recipe can accept ingredients that you haven't researched yet. Well, the recipe we haven't researched yet. That's really interesting. I don't know how that really applies or matters, but it is an interesting fact. I wouldn't have assumed it would accept ingredients if we haven't researched the recipe yet. Huh. Cool. All right. That's all good to go, and we will call that an episode. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.